What's going on, guys? So today I have a 6th generation 80 gigabyte iPod Classic that my customer wants to upgrade to 128 gigabytes and do a battery replacement. So the first thing we want to do, let's power up this thing and let's make sure everything works. Because when repairing something for somebody else, you kind of want to check all the functionality of it before you start to tear into it. Okay, so right there we got the red X, so not really much we can test. So, but what I was saying is you want to do your due diligence, if I can talk today, and get a good idea of what's working, what's not working before you start ripping into the iPod. Because if they say that, oh, I have a battery problem, and if they have a headphone jack problem too that they don't know about, you don't send that back to them, and then all of a sudden their headphone jack's not working, and then they're like, well, what did you do to my iPod? So always good to test everything first. So okay, just don't want to get caught with your pants down. Okay, so let's get into this iPod. Stuff out of the way. Okay, so opening these iPod Classics, the thin ones like this, the sixth and seventh generations are kind of a pain in the butt, hard to work with. The fifth gens are a little bit easier, and the thicker sixth gen 160 is not so bad. But so really, the gist that you got to do is you got to get a little spudger tool like this, and kind of get in between the front case and the rear case, and then slightly pry outwards, releasing the clips. So you do that. You kind of got to find a good spot. It looks like somebody's tried to get into this iPod before. You can kind of see these little shards up and down. So since they've gone in there before, I'm going to try to go in the same way. There we go. Just kind of work your way down, releasing the clips. I'm going to speed this up. Good Lord. It has been a long time since a rear cover has given me that much of a hassle. Oh man, my hands are just, cramping big time. Okay. So for anybody who's seen my videos before, you know exactly what I am going to say next. Once you have the iPod opened up like this, do not just pull this cable off. This is the battery cable. Do not pull it off. And then do not open the iPod like a book. Because what will happen is you could risk tearing this battery connector off the motherboard. And in that case, you would need to have very good soldering skills, or you would need to spend money to buy a new motherboard. So, take a spudger. Hold it down right there on the battery connector. Let me zoom for you. Hold down on the battery connector, take a pair of tweezers, pull the cable out. Now you can open it like a book. So let's get rid of this hard drive since we know she is no good. So you will lift this black latch right there, pull that out, and this is junk. So I'm going to toss it in my e-waste bucket. So the next thing we need to do is get rid of this battery. So we need to detach this aux port cable. And all you need to do that is lift up on that latch and pull the cable out. You can use a spudger, you can use your nail. I'm just going to use my nail. And then you just pull that out like so. Okay, so what you can do with this, you could take a spudger and pry it out, but what you need to be careful about is the hold switch cable branches off here and it goes just under the battery, and there is adhesive that sticks to this a little bit from the battery to this cable. So if you just go in here and just try to pry it up, you're going to tear that hold switch cable. So you can just be very careful and then finagle it and peel it off the bottom of the battery as you're peeling it up. Or you can apply a little bit of heat to the bottom of this that will soften that adhesive. I'm going to do that. I have a 3D printer. I can turn my heat bed up to 50 degrees Celsius and just set it there for 5 minutes, and it will soften enough to take this battery out a lot easier. So I'm going to go do that real quick. I'll be right back. It'll just be a second or two for you. Okay, a couple minutes on the heat bed. So let's get under here. Just kind of pry up. You want to just go up very slowly. So you could see in there that this cable underneath here, sorry guys, my lighting is terrible. I need to get like an extra light in here. But you can see under here that that hold cable is on the bottom of that battery. So if we go any further, we're gonna rip that. So we need to kind of dislodge that. Just kind of take your spudger and just work it along until you dislodge it from the back of the battery. Then you can pry up the rest of the way, but go slow. Don't just ram it home. Come on. Oh man, this guy's like in there. Jeez. There we go. Good Lord. Having a time today. Okay, so e-waste. And when you guys are, doing this stuff at home, make sure that you guys aren't throwing this stuff directly in the garbage. Dispose of it properly. You don't want this stuff ending up in our landfills. Okay. Okay, so we have our Tarkin board, our 128 gigabyte drive. Shove that guy in there like so. And to secure it, I'm going to take a little tape. And I'm just going to kind of set it there like so. And then they give you these little pads. Actually, they give you a 2-pack. I already have one here from another one, so I'm just going to use that one. Save the other one for later. And then I kind of just take this pad and I set it here in front of the SD card, because the one flaw about these cards is so they sit. So here's your iPod front, and they sit like this. So if you put them in your pocket, top down, or if they take a nosedive and it hits down, this SD card will come out. So I try to secure it in there as best as I can, so if that doesn't happen. Okay, so now that we got that ready, let's put our aux cable back in. Okay. You kind of slide it in there like so. Sorry, my fat fingers are in the way. And then you just close that latch. You're good to go there. So now let's open up our battery connector. So you want to take, hello. bouncing stuff around. Take your spudger and your handy dandy paperclip tool. You're going to hold down on the white part of the battery connector, and you're going to take your paperclip tool, run it behind this clip, and that's going to raise that clip up. If you were to try to do this without, kind of like when you were first opening the iPod and removing the battery cable, if you were to just rip the battery cable out, you could dislodge this. Same thing. You could damage the board. You don't want that. Okay, so we need to raise the latch up on that guy. And then fit our ribbon cable in. And we're going to take our spudger and just kind of finish seating the cable all the way. Just kind of keep working it in on each side. Take your finger and then close that latch. And then we're going to fit our battery. Okay, we are ready to restore on iTunes. So I will restore with iTunes and then throw a little bit of music on there, and then I will be back to test with you. See you in just a sec. Okay, so she restored to iTunes perfectly fine. I was able to sing some music to it, so let's check out the rest of the functionality of this guy before we close it back up and set it back. Alrighty. Okay, so right away I can tell you that the headphones, both sides of the headphone work, because when scrolling I'm getting that clicking. Okay, a little void of vision. Yep, that sounds good. Play pause works, next works, previous works, menu works, hold switch works. Cool. Okay. So this one is good to go. Actually, no, it is not good to go. One thing that I want to do first is, since I put a new battery in here, I want to make sure that the iPod is functioning correctly in terms of the battery taking charge and also the iPod being able to send the charge to the battery. So I just want to make sure that the battery charges. Good Lord. Okay, longer cord. All right, so that's going to sit there and charge for a little bit, so I'll be back with you in a couple seconds. Okay, so the battery, sorry guys, kind of washed out. So the battery icon is full. It's hard to see. Take my word for it. It's full. So let's close it back up. So I had a little bit of trouble with this one. I mean, I didn't like pry the edges out like super duper far, but anytime that you open an iPod, you have to pry the edges, the sides out to get those clips to release, and they get slightly bent. So it's just good practice to just take the case and just kind of squeeze it and just kind of try to, force those edges back in. Just so when you close it up, you don't have like these gaps. Okay, so actually I want to do the hold switch first. And push down. There we go. Everything's good. Edges are looking pretty good. Not bad. I think that's acceptable. Okay, so then the last thing that you want to do is one more time test everything. Always want to do your due diligence. And just make sure everything works, and you just want to make sure that no cables got pinched or anything like that during the closing. Both ears good. Play pause works, next works, previous works, and hold Schwitz works. Okay. This one is complete. Thank you guys very much for checking this out. If you guys found this stuff interesting, please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Everybody have a wonderful rest of the week. See you guys.